the current time, China is using basically two different types of weekly cycle orders in its calendars. In this first weekly cycle system, Sunday is on the first day of the week. Notice that there is a single horizontal line as the title for the day following Sunday. This Chinese character represents the number 1, or in this case, the first day of the week. So the first day of the week by position is called Sunday, and the second day of the week by position is called the first day of the week. This type of confusion continues throughout the entire weekly cycle. The last and seventh day of the week has the character that looks a little bit like a 5-pointed star and a lot like a stick man. This character represents the number 6 in Chinese. As you may already know, in the book of Genesis, it says that man was created on the 6th day of the week. So is it just a coincidence that what appears to be a pictograph of a man would be used to represent the number 6 in Chinese? Why is the Chinese character for the 6th day of the week on the last or 7th day of the week? And why is the character that represents the 7th day of the week missing? And why does this weekly cycle system have 2 first days and no 7th day by name? The other popular weekly cycle system in China rotates the titles for the days of the week backwards by 1 day, which gives it the New World Order with Monday or day 1 as the first day of the week and Sunday as the 7th day. In this weekly cycle, we see that Sheng means week, Che means cycle, and I means 1. When combined in this order, it reads week, cycle, 1, or the first day of the weekly cycle. These symbols do not even remotely mean Monday, which is generally the English title that is attached to this day in the Chinese English calendars. The characters for the last day of the week represent week, cycle, sun, or the sun day of the weekly cycle. The Chinese characters in no way infer what order Sunday should be placed on within the weekly cycle. Nevertheless, this weekly cycle has the appearance that it is more logical than China's other weekly cycle system, which has 2 first days and no 7th day by name. But is it in reality? In this picture, we see the numbers 1 through 7 written in English, Pinyin, and Chinese characters. And to the right of these are the names in Chinese for the 7 days of the week. Just as is common in many of the ancient languages, the first 6 days are given numbers as their titles. However, in the not-so-distant past, the majority of the world's languages identified the last day of the week as the Sabbath, not Sunday as seen here in Chinese. Maybe the following information from this 1886 weekly cycle chart will help clarify some of what has happened to the weekly cycle in China. In the Chinese Catholic weekly cycle system, the first day of the week has the special title of Day of Looking Up and Worshiping. In the Chinese Protestant weekly cycle, the first day of the week is also given a special title called Respectful Worshiping. The Mohammedan Chinese calls the first day of the week first to the Sabbath, which, if you remember, is basically the same title as what is used in Russia's Evangeli for the first day of the week. The last day of the week is called Worship Day 7 by Catholicism and the Sabbath by Islam. However, the Chinese Protestant weekly cycle is not so logical. While Respectful Worshiping is the title for the first day of the week, Worship Day 1 is the title for the second day of the week, and the title for the last or 7th day of the week is Worship Day 6. Does this mixed-up order in China's weekly cycle sound familiar? It is easily seen that Worship Day 1 should be on the first day of the week instead of the second, and that Respectful Worshiping should be on the last day of the week. It also appears that the sun symbol was subtly substituted for the Chinese character that is normally used to represent the number 7. In this picture, the seventh day of the Chinese Protestant weekly cycle has been modified to show you what its seventh day most likely looked like before it was tampered with. The sun symbol has been crossed out and the proper symbol for 7 has been replaced. The seventh day has also had the title of Respectful Worshiping restored to it. Thus, it is evident that the Chinese Protestant weekly cycle has been tampered with, so that in reality, it is an anti-Protestant and an anti-Christian weekly cycle. Why would those who have set up illogical and deceptive orders in China's weekly cycle also want to remove from the weekly cycle the character that represents the seventh day in the Chinese language? Could it be that even though very few people seem to realize it today, the symbol for 7 when used in the Chinese weekly cycle is very significant? The Chinese character for 7 is actually made up of a combination of 2 different characters. The horizontal character is a single straight line, which is I, and represents the number 1 or first. The vertical line, shown in its more ancient form here, represents life and/or growth. When these 2 symbols are combined and used on the seventh day of the week, they represent the 1, first, or most important day for life and growth. And if we were to add the symbols of week and cycle before the symbol 7, it would read, the seventh day of the weekly cycle, the most important day for life and growth. From Genesis to Revelation, the seventh-day Sabbath of the Creator is singled out as the special relationship day between the Creator God and man. This title for China's seventh day would therefore be in accordance in principle with the purpose of the Sabbath as described in the Bible. Why has confusion been brought about in China's civil weekly cycle? And why is there still confusion in the Chinese Protestants' weekly cycle? Who is responsible for this artful deception that has been destroying the love for truth in China and the East?